at least. And they live in, Ralph works for Audi in Neckarsulm. And Garrett's interesting. He has a mystery dinner theater that he runs, and he writes a lot of the mysteries himself. And they, unfortunately now because of COVID, that's kind of really put the block on that, because they're very strict. They've got an 8:00 curfew in Germany. They have to be off the streets and
really
at 8:00 at night. Yeah. It's
all of Germany.
Yeah. It's very much.
So that's
strict.
how you beat COVID.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we haven't figured it out over here. We're struggling.
Yeah. We're still trying to figure out how to beat COVID.
No, I didn't understand the last question.
Oh, you must be home by 8:00 at night, right?
Yes, we have a curfew from 8:00. In Europe it's different. Italy has a curfew from 10 evening, which in my opinion makes no sense. But we do have at 8, and we heard that they control it and they do fines if they catch you on the street without dog or you have to go to work, then they'll fine you.
Oh, okay.
What's the fine?
You have to pay money.
How much?
It is
a lot?
I heard about it is 400 euros, which is about $500.
Wow.
They talked about doing that here, but I don't think they have.
Yeah,
done it anywhere.
What they also did is they changed this a few weeks ago, that it is only allowed for you to get one visitor at your house.
Wow.
So a couple is not allowed anymore. And I heard if the police is catching you having more than one guest, you have to pay $1,200.
Oh, wow. That's motivation.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I was going to say that's one way to keep it under control.
You got to pick your friends carefully.
Yes. Have you had the vaccination Impfstoff? Hast du den Impfstoff bekommen?
This stuff arrived in Germany, yes, but unfortunately it's not enough. So only people over 80 do get it. Mm-hmm. And people who work in a hospital or in a retirement home like this.
Yeah. Okay.
The nurses, police officers. And it depends in what state in Germany you live. In Baden-Württemberg, in our state, it's like you have to call them and ask for an appointment. In other federal states, you get a letter with the appointment. But here you have to take care of yourself.
Oh, okay.
So is it pretty under control? Is COVID? Is it under control? Would you say in Germany, somewhat?
I would say no.
No.
So numbers are now after almost more than a month curfew. The numbers getting down, yes. But Heilbronn, I don't know. We still are a hotspot.
So the curfew is new. The curfew is new. You just started the curfew.
No. The curfew is, wie lange ist das jetzt schon? Ab von Januar an, oder? Yeah, and the curfew is the whole year now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but still, Heilbronn, I don't know. We have the worst numbers in the south of Germany.
Oh, really?
So they talk about why it is so bad in Heilbronn. They have one explanation, but I don't know if this is true. It could be, but the explanation is kind of bad, actually, to be honest. I don't know.
What is it?
It's verstehe nichts, was?
So because of those big factories we have here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, factory.
Mhm.
So the workers who work there are mostly Turkish.
Mm.
And they refuse the rules. They say we still do meet in family ambition.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
We don't know if that is true or not, but actually it could be.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I know we're struggling with it over here pretty bad in our country, and
Yeah. Yeah. I understand Italy and Spain are very, very hot for are hot spots for COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to kind of explain why we have you on today. We had a couple questions for you. I don't know if you've listened to our podcast at all, but it kind of focuses on politics, American politics. For now, we were motivated to have this podcast because of Trump in general, and now that he's gone, it's kind of interesting how things have calmed down in some ways. But I still wanted to talk to you guys about how you perceived certain things from a German perspective of the United States. And I have a couple questions I wanted to ask you. The first one was, do you even care about the United States? Like, does the United States politics matter at all in Germany? Do you care?
Okay. Willst du antworten? Soll ich?
Mach, ich habe es nur die Hälfte verstanden.
Okay. So American politics is really big in German TV. I mean, you really hear a lot about what's going on, what's happening. So, but people listen to that, but not because they are really interested in American politics. But the subject Trump made it kind of interesting.
Like reality TV, yeah.
So what I can say by myself is, because I have relatives and friends in America, for me, this country is kind of important what's going on over there.
Okay.
But I found out on our last day in America, talking about before was a bit difficult because the opinions of the Americans, what's going on in the politics of America, was really, there was a big difference what the people are thinking. So I guess your country was really kind of divided.
Very divided, yeah, and it still is. We're going to see how that plays out in the future. There's still people grasping on to the Trumpism and that whole, direction. But yeah, so I was curious also how what was the press and the impression of the January 6th when they stormed the Capitol here? How did people in Germany in general? I know you can't really speak for all people in Germany, but how did that come across out there?
In a terrible way.
Yeah.
I was ashamed, but it was because it happened maybe 3 weeks before, or maybe a month before, that people in Berlin did almost the same thing in our Bundestag.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you have heard about.
I didn't hear about it.
No, have not heard about it. That's interesting.
A month ago, in Berlin, there was a demonstration, but not a political demonstration. But they found out that the right party, as the party of the right side, they smuggled people inside. and they tried to get in the, I would say, in our capital.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
what stopped it? Was it?
So the only difference was that the thing that happened here in Germany, that was not as pushed as Trump did it before. He wanted that this happens.
Right.
Yes.
They had a strong leader pushing them to do it. And they had multiple people. He had other people speaking for him too. The My Pillow guy. But yeah, you're right. That's so they didn't have the backing at the high level here to do that in Germany.
Yeah, so there was just not a lot of police officers and security, but they could, because the people there, it was not, they didn't have such an ambition to go inside. When they saw it is closed, they didn't do it.
Wow,
luckily,
I did not know that at all.
Yeah. So when this happens in America, the Germans have been kind of, how do you say, sensibilized, or but we have been shocked, and we thought it is a shame of a country. It is. Yes. I mean, to be honest, I can speak for myself. I don't know Ralph, but I think so too. So we don't like Trump. Or how do you say? We think he is really crazy.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, that was my question. And I don't know if you can speak to this, but how is Trump perceived? I think you may have answered it. How is he perceived in Germany in general? Probably kind of similar how he is here. It's like a reality TV, or it's entertainment. He's more entertainment than he is, but then he's dangerous.
Yeah.
How when Trump was in office, Garrett, what was kind of the general consensus that you would say in Germany about Trump as president? Did you like him? Did they not like him? What was the impression of him?
My personal impression, or from Germany?
Yeah, did you get a feeling there's a general feeling of support for him, or not support, or?
Okay, so when I spoke with a lot of friends of mine what they think about Trump, and I would say over 90% of which maybe is not whole Germany, but what I can say of my people environment, they were really afraid of him.
Yes.
I mean, we have seen that he stopped these political things, which politicians they tried for years to get contracts to work together to help the environment, the planet, and he stopped everything. So we were really concerned about that. This person, he is really dangerous, and what happened is that the American reputation, how people are in America, was getting really, really low. A lot of people think now really bad of Americans.
Well, yeah, I mean, almost 50% of us still voted for him last year. So that's still there. You should think that about Americans, because half of them have voted for him, right? And so that's a real thing. I even felt that way about Bush a little bit, but that's another story.
Yes.
But the whole global impression, Trump just wanted to, be nationalist, isolated, not have relations with other countries except for other dictatorships and other, countries like that. He revered Putin. He revered China.
Kim Jong-un.
The North Korean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very scary for us. I mean, Tom and I are sitting here going, are we going to become a fascist dictatorship
Yes.
here?
Yeah.
I mean, are we heading towards it? I mean, that's how we both felt that way. I mean, he was taking the steps. He was taking early steps that were similar in our eyes to what, even Hitler was doing back in the 20s, of 100 years ago. And there's all kinds of, it seems similar. That was, yeah.
He was disinstalling the democracy in America. You could see it step by step. And the Germans, because of World War II, because of Hitler, we can understand that if your population is not satisfied. And years ago, the German people, they had no work, they had no food, they were poor.
Yeah.
And if there is one person saying, I will do now everything for you, I can understand that a lot of people believe this shit and follow those people.
Only I can fix it, right? Only I can.
Well, I would say that Trump showed, unfortunately, in a bad way, that it looks like that the situation in the United States, what's concerning when we talk about people, that they are not really happy and not satisfied.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't follow a person who would be crazy like a dog like him.
It's true, and I think his manipulation of the media was a big thing, and I know that's what the early Hitler did too. It's the manipulation of the media, the propaganda, and he had a direct line to people through Twitter. He was able to speak unfiltered directly to the people. They felt like he was one of them. There are a lot of people in this country that have problems, for sure. I mean, our country has problems. Every country has problems. Our country has a lot right now because I think, capitalism's gone a little bit crazy here. The gap between the rich and the poor is out of control. And, and I think he was speaking to people who felt, that they had lost a voice or something and they were getting left behind, and they just, grabbed onto him. But the funny thing is we both have family and friends who are Trump supporters, and they rationalize it by saying, about his policies. They liked his policies, and they looked past all the stuff that's, to me, is way more important. The fascist tendencies and the way he's going about, his power is so much more important. And I think that's what Tom and I, bonded over, realized that this is really bad. But our friends and family, some of them, I don't have I have almost no friends that are Trump supporters, but I do have some family, and they just say policy, America first. You're right. America first. And, that's, trying to build up our country as if we're so downtrodden, it's scary. It is. We were scared too. Like you were saying, we're scared. We were all scared of that happening, and it was very close to happening. Very, very close.
This is what people don't understand, how close he has been to a point in which what he would destroy, there would no way back.
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
Yes,
Once he got that next 4 years, he would just continue the march towards it. And there's nothing, I don't think there's anything you could do, because he was removing everybody who didn't kiss his boot. You got him out of there.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, just like a true dictator. It's
he is mentally sick. Did you guys see that? It is a statement what his mother said in the year 1957. His mother talked about him.
Oh, really?
Do you know what she said, or what I mean?
What?
No,
I don't know.
No.
She said, and this is fact. She said, "I know he is my son, but he's an asshole." And she said, I know, she said, I know he has kind of social
Psychopath.
a lack of a lot of things, and she really hopes that he would never go into politics
I heard
because
that. Yeah.
he the beginning of the hell, she said.
Yeah.
I will send the picture with a text with a word later. You have to see it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Garrett, I need to, you know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, right?
Yes.
Okay. And, you know, he's from Austria,
Yes.
Österreich, and he was born 2 years after World War II. He was born in 1947. Well, of course, his father had been in the war and his neighbors had been in the war. In fact, his father came back and he was an alcoholic and very abusive to him and his mother and all that. And he said, well, it's nothing unusual because the neighbors were too. But what he said, I'm going to send you a link. It's called My Message to My Fellow Americans. And he talks about what happens when people believe lies. So that's what happened. That's what happened in Germany and in Europe during the Hitler era, because it was all based on lies and people believed it.
Well, that's the only news they were getting too, right?
Yeah,
and all the other news sources were gone, and they only
Exactly.
had one source for news, and so that becomes your reality.
And his point was what it led to in Europe. It was really very interesting. So he was talking from a standpoint that he had experienced post World War II Europe and knew how horrible the results of all these lies and propaganda and all this crap that went on during the Hitler era, and it sucked people in. Like you said, they were desperate, they were poor, and he promised them a way out. And
this is what Trump is doing, promising a lot of things and lying all the time.
yes,
Make America great again.
Yes.
Right? There's these slogans, there's this advertising, and there's these, slick.
Oh, I know.
It's just playing on people. But, well, he's gone, at least for now. So we're pretty excited about that over here. And it's been real quiet. As I said, he said, there's a little bit of controversy about him being banned from Twitter and banned from some of these other social media sites. But I think they're private companies and he violated their rules and regulations.
Rules, yes.
And it's not censorship. It's a private company. It's not the government this isn't a government, censorship. It's a private company making a decision because you're lying so much. You're inciting violence.
Yes,
they have
exactly.
the right to turn him off. And I think ever since he's been off Twitter, everything is sort of de-escalating a little bit. Because the message is slow. It's starting to, the direct line of communication is sort of going away a little bit. It may come back. I don't think we're out of it yet. And he's got his soldiers out there and his army of idiots. And
the Proud Boys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. The Proud Boys.
I have seen pictures of them. I mean, you can almost take every person and he looks like a hillbilly. I mean, they really look like that they are married to their cousins.
Yeah. That was a motley crew out there, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. These aren't the brightest people around, for sure. It just never ceases to make. They believe in all kinds of crazy conspiracy theories, like China and Venezuela and Germany interfered with the last election and threw it for Biden. That it wasn't.
There's so many. There are so many conspiracy
It's just
theories.
crazy, and these people actually believe this stuff. I mean, and
there's a lady who is in Congress now who ran on conspiracy theories. QAnon. Have you heard of QAnon? Probably not. But QAnon is this movement over here that kind of thrives on conspiracy theories. pedophile rings, and all Democrats are running pedophile rings, and all these crazy things that that they're claiming, like Hillary Clinton and Oprah and Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah.
And this lady won. She's in Congress running on the QAnon platform, and there's two of them now. There's two crazy women in there, and the Republican Senate the Republican Congress is sort of fracturing right now because some of them are siding with her, and some of them are like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
But that's all on the Republican side. So the Republican side is really having an issue right now. They're going to have to figure that out because there's some very extreme factions going on over there, and it's just yesterday. She had a press conference saying that, I stopped believing in that stuff in 2018, but there's evidence of her doing it in 2019 and 2020. So it's just lie after lie. It's just really sad, where we're at.
I mean, there is no person on this earth, on this planet, which it is proved how much he is lying like Trump.
Oh, yeah.
I think there is a book where they really caught him by proof.
Mhm.
I think the 100 biggest lies he ever did.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he had over 20,000 while he's in office.
It was over 30,000.
30,000.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
30,000 lies. He averaged like 8 a day or something, 10 a day minimum, just in Twitter. It's like, but it's just amazing.
I think the moment he lost a lot of, at the beginning we didn't know him, but in the moment he started to touch this women's backsides and breasts, and you could almost hear this shock sound of 90% of the Germans when he said, "Oh, that's normal. We should do.
That's okay." Yeah.
I mean,
people just look past it. They say, he's got problems. He's got problems, but I like his policies. That's what they're saying. I can't believe it.
What he said one time, and this fact that somebody asked a Trump supporter this the other day. He once said, "I could go out in the middle of Manhattan, in New York, and kill somebody, and I still wouldn't lose supporters,
any votes." Yeah,
any votes. And they just a few days ago, somebody asked this woman who was a Trump supporter, if he killed somebody, would he still have your support? She said, "Oh, absolutely, absolutely."
Yeah, they're diehard. There's nothing that he can do. It's kind of like like with Hitler. It was like you weren't pledging allegiance to Germany. You were pledging allegiance to Hitler.
Yes, exactly.
And so like they're pledging allegiance to Trump more than the country. That's sort of where I've seen like some of these people, the extreme people, are pledging their allegiance to Trump over their country.
Yes.
And that's what was starting to really scare me. Did you see a rise in the like neo-Nazi movement in Germany during the last 4 years?
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, because they probably felt emboldened because America was starting to see it go, and
they unfortunately used this Corona time, the demonstrations, which have been normally totally unpolitical. They abused these demonstrations for their Nazi thoughts. Unfortunately,
are they out demonstrating in the open more?
What did you say?
Are they out in the open demonstrating more?
Publicum.
Not the Nazis, but people. There are still people in Germany who believe that there is no COVID, that this is all a lie.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Conspiracy people. Yeah.
We have the same thing here in America. There was,
and they do demonstrations, but in a friendly way, we have to say. But these Nazis, they mix their people under it on these demonstrations. and try to get it to be more that it will be a violent one. And unfortunately, they do take their kids with them. So police has to deal with those demonstrations in a more friendly way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. They're using their children as a shield.
Yes.
Yeah. That's well, unfortunately, Garrett, a lot of these